a wonderful privilege tonight just to say a few words. I feel very honored. I feel very humbled. And I just obviously acknowledge our wonderful Patele, and in particular to our dear Tina, Marina's beautiful family. Tapi, I see Tapi, and I know Wendy's here. And we acknowledge Simi and Tino and Pi, and probably her other, maybe her favorite son at the back, Alapati, I'm not sure. He's definitely one of the favorites. He's one of all our favorites. And I know there's so many of her family, and Uncle Eddie there, and we think of Auntie Tui, and it's good to see some of our Annandale family here. And of course, I'm standing on behalf of, I suppose, Marina's sons. There were so many of them. So I'm just speaking on behalf of her amazing sons that she loved so much. And I just happen to be privileged to be one of many. There's probably 10 here tonight, but there's hundreds when I think of this amazing lady. And we come to honor her life. Se soifua manuma lo o tatou tina pelina. And when I look at those beautiful pictures, so much comes flooding back, all the memories, all the wonderful moments in our lives that we cherish forever because of this lady, because of her life well lived. As you know, she didn't do anything in halves. Salau pesengi or salau malisfulu pesengi, and that was her benchmarks. You know, I just very quickly, I don't want to take up too much time, but, you know, when I came into rugby as a young 16, 17-year-old and started to come and have the opportunity to play for my beloved village team at Mota'a, and I was one moment just playing local club rugby here and just down the road in West Auckland and at the local high school in Henderson, and next minute I'm playing with my boyhood heroes, Taufusi, Salesa, Antalea, Lolangi was still there, Va'a, Bauti. There were so many great players. Simaile was still around, Susunga, you know, Kelly. There were so many great men that I had grown up admiring just as a young boy who was very proud of not just his village, but Samoan rugby. And these were the heroes and legends of Samoan rugby. But I'm very, you know, I praise God because when I turned up as a young, fresh-faced 17-year-old, I'd sort of heard about this amazing lady. She had already started to make a name for herself. She was our president. She was pretty much running our club by that stage. But one thing that I'll never forget is the moment I met her, I could just know straight away how much she had a heart. I saw up there Queen of Coconuts. We can never forget her role at the Fale Pepe. And we were all pretty blessed on that because she always had a lot of money she would give to us boys. I think she gave Antalea the most money. That was her favorite. Or maybe Danny. You know, but she was also the queen of so many other things. She was the queen of Samoan rugby. And but that moment, and I just want to speak also to the fact that she just was the queen of her family and her boys and the things that she loved and her passion about her family. And that the moment I met her, what I really felt was her love as a mother. I could just feel that even though I couldn't work it out, because who was this lady? She's, you know, and back in those days in the mid-'80s, there were no ladies running rugby clubs anywhere. She was a pioneer. She was revolutionary. She was radical because her life was everything like that, just the way she lived. She was running one of the biggest businesses in Samoa. She was doing all sorts of other amazing things. She was running a rugby club, but she was also becoming a real mover and shaker in world rugby. And I know the boys, and it's good to see so many of our brothers here. The impact that this amazing lady made on world rugby people still remember her as the Iron Lady of Samoan rugby. She was tough and she was all of that, but she was more than that. She just had the heart of just a real mother for those who came under her influence. And, I really acknowledge the fact that her influence was huge. And that's the sign of a great leader. If you want to measure the impact of this lady, you have to measure it in terms of her influence. And not only on a young boy like me who, when I met her, and when I was even a little bit apprehensive of playing as an 18-year-old or 17-year-old, she made me believe in myself. There was something about her, with her just encouragement and her love, that just made me feel that I could do anything. And I know she did that for all of our boys, for the Sevens boys, not just Mota'a, but the great team of 1994 that won the Hong Kong Sevens, the world champions, but also for everybody that she touched. Her influence was huge. And I think out of everything that, I'm so grateful tonight, and I know I say this on behalf of her other sons that she loved so much, was her legacy and her influence on so many. We were just talking about it with the boys. If Samoan rugby had any sense, they would do a memorial or a monument to this lady because of the influence she had on our game. When you look at the success of Samoan rugby, particularly in the 80s and 90s, this lady was one of the most instrumental figures in bringing up Samoan rugby to where it was the heyday, and not just in the sevens, but also in the 15s. And, long before they were talking about gender equality and about we have to get more women in rugby, the pioneer, the revolutionary, radical Marina Schaafhausen was already doing that 30, 50 years ago. And it's amazing. And I just stand in awe, and as I look at all those photos, we just cherish so many wonderful things she did for us. If it wasn't for her, we would never have not just had the success we had, even at Mota'a, as a sevens, I suppose an iconic team now when I think of it. But I just look at some of our young men, their lives were, and myself, if it wasn't for her believing in us and giving us that opportunity, we would never be able to do what we did in our lives. And even off the rugby field, we learned so much from this lady because she brought her loto alofa. She just had such a powerful love for us, and we felt it in everything that we were blessed to experience with her. I could say so much about this darling mother, but I just, again, when I think of her life, the legacy and the influence goes far beyond even those who are here tonight. So many cannot be here, and I think of Taufusi and some of the great men of Samoan rugby who can't be here. But we know that there's generations of Samoan rugby players and even world rugby players. My wife showed me a beautiful Facebook picture of David Campese with his arm around her. It was a beautiful photo, and there might have been someone else, one of the New Zealand All Blacks, and they just loved her too because she brought everyone together. And even though she was hard, it was like, who is this lady? When they engage with her, all they realize is this lady has just got a powerful love, not only for people, but she was so passionate about rugby and about Samoan rugby and about Mota'a rugby, amongst all the other things. So we praise God for this life well lived, and I just feel blessed to just say a few words on behalf of our brotherhood. And again, we are rich because of the richness of this amazing life. She was rich in so many ways, and because of that, we are all rich because we knew her, and she was a big part of our lives, particularly in our rugby careers. So with that, we just ask God's blessing upon the family. We love you all. We'll always be here for you. And because of this beautiful tina, we are always connected forever and a day, and even the next generations. And so we salute and we commend and acknowledge one of the great leaders, not just in Samoan rugby and in our lives, but in Samoa. she is really a great leader in our nation. So we love her for that. Yafamanuia, Tuya, Waitina, Emanuia Lomalanga. God bless Faftai, Soifua. Thank you.